Hello, Richie. Well, I just filmed this video and then part way through my cat decided to make a ton of noise and ended up making the video unbearable and unwatchable, so I'm just going to do it again. Um, in my last reading update, I predicted that I will have finished a novel, and I was correct. I finished reading this last night. Lutz Seiler, or Seiler. I think it might be Seiler, one of my faithful German viewers uh, did correct me or say that I was correct in one of those pronunciations, but although I can't remember which one, but I think it's Seiler. Um, Star 3, translated by Tess Lewis. An excellent novel following the immediate aftermath of the fall of the Berlin Wall, and I now know there is a term for novels in this genre. I feel Wender Roman. Again, one of my faithful German-speaking viewers can correct me on that. Quite a popular subgenre, as I understand it, not least for German readers. Yeah, an excellent novel. It does lose some of the philosophical and poetic self-reflection, um, uh, which I spoke about in my last video talking about this. Um, as it goes deeper into the novel, and I think that's because the author's trying to keep the momentum of these two or three main plots going, and there's a whole circus full of characters that you've got to keep up with as well. So it becomes more plot heavy, but it's still very well written nonetheless. Um, the three plots being the main one, which follows Carl, who is a young man, or about 26 years old, moves to Berlin and starts to joins a group of squatters who seeking to disrupt the social order in some sense, and he has ambitions himself to be a poet, but also finds himself driving or sort of being an illegal taxi for people around Berlin to earn a bit of extra sort of petty cash. But also his parents, who had fled west in search of a sort of a better life, but they quickly become separated, and so the mother finds herself working sort of odd jobs in rich people's homes, and then the father, who has a background in computing and can speak, can understand or read or write various computer languages, and is actually sort of headhunted in a way and is sent around the country teaching people computer code. So starts to earn a bit of money, and then becomes reacquainted with his wife. Yeah, so a lot going on, so a lot to keep up with, but yeah, it comes together quite nicely, and overall very, very well done indeed. The the main character Carl does seem to have a lot of similarities with the author himself, who started out as a poet, was also a bricklayer, just like in the book. And in actual fact, there's a point where Carl does get some poems published in a small volume, and has some author photos taken, and the one they choose seems to be which is described exactly as the one in the back of this book, which I'm assuming is Lutz Seiler. And Carl is very unhappy with the photo in the end, because he's got this pubescent facial hair and uncombed hair and dirty fingernails and cigarette and all that. So yeah, there seems to be a sort of blurring between reality and fiction. I think for the most part the novel is fictionalized, but the author is obviously speaking from personal experience growing up in this situation of Germany, which is quite interesting. And lastly, I'll just note the translation, which is fantastic. There's a very interesting translator's afterword as well, where Tess talks about the challenges in translating the author's sort of rhythmic and poetic prose. But she clearly went the extra mile in translating this book, because she was in constant dialogue with the author himself, seeking his advice and comments, and even went so far as to visit the many locations in the book in Germany, to get a sense of the context and the historical setting as well. So very good. It was pointed out by Joe Smith, a longtime friend of the channel, that the book does bear a lot of similarities to a sort of Fitzcarraldo edition, and it does. I also made this connection in my head, although I didn't mention it in my video, but I'll happily take credit for it. That seems to be the vibe that they're going for, this sort of minimalist, monochromatic format, and I'm all for it. I love these sort of minimalist designs, and not least because I really don't like UK book covers in general, so I'd rather they just do something like this. The main difference being here is that they've got this sort of text on the front, and this isn't the opening paragraph of the book. It's just seems to be a random segment from the middle of the book. It's even got the French flaps as well, just like a Fitzcarraldo edition. And I will say that it is marginally easier to read than the Fitzcarraldo edition, which can feel a bit sort of tight and small to read. And also, I went on the And Other Stories website, and saw that they seem to be using this sort of uniform formats to publish all of their new and recent publications, releases. So I was very interested to choose some more and to order some, but they're not selling physical copies of the books and are only doing ebooks on their website, or they've made it so hard to find the books themselves, the physical copies themselves, that I just gave up and didn't order any in the end. I don't want the ebooks, I want the actual books. So I'm sure I could go on Amazon and order them quite easily through there. But yeah, it's a good selection. Of course, you can actually become or sign up for an annual membership. I think it's about £100 or thereabouts, and you get, I don't know, 8 books a year for that. So it doesn't seem like great value for money, but I think you do get your name cited somewhere as being a sort of supporting member, and you get the books I think before they're released as well. But they do publish Lutz Seiler's poetry in one book, and they also do an edition of a non-fiction, which is what I wanted to order. So I will try again. I'll find somewhere else to buy it if I can't order it off their website. Yeah, very good novel, very good. So I did finish reading that last night, but I haven't actually started a new one yet, and I have a couple of books in mind. The first being this by Elfriede Jelinek, an Austrian author, but translated from the Austrian German, The Children of the Dead. So she won the Nobel Prize in the 2000s. This has been recently published by an imprint of Yale University Press, although I think the novel itself is about 20 or 25 years old. It does seem like another sort of chunker, and it seems quite dense, so I think I will put this aside for now, and I'll start this instead. Women and Ghosts by Alison Lurie, which is much shorter and seems a bit easier. So I've never read Alison Lurie either, so it's a good opportunity for me to acquaint myself with this author. and then I'll continue the recent tradition of reading Eurofiction. Now, I have been very slowly and almost reluctantly lately reading the letters of Samuel Beckett, because I'm starting to find them a bit tiresome and a bit boring, unfortunately. So that means I haven't been reading any non-fiction really, because I'm classing this as like my non-fiction read. And I thought, I need to pick something else up, otherwise I'm never going to be reading any other non-fiction. So I did. I finally picked up this biography of Byron, A Life in 10 Letters, published by Cambridge University Press, the greatest publisher on earth, and that's my complete and unbiased opinion. This was actually gifted to me on my birthday in March. Usually I'm quite good at reading books that are gifted to me very quickly, but this has been gathering dust on my coffee table for quite some time now, so I thought finally about time that I picked this up. It's just a very short, what's about 300 pages, so short in by sort of biography standards, introduction to Byron's life, framed around these 10 letters. And I must confess, I don't like the sort of clickbaity gimmick of it being 10 letters. It's a nice rounded number, yes, but life isn't nice and rounded like that. Why not 12 letters? Why not 8? Just have a life in letters, have as many letters as you need, but it has to be 10, because, anyway, that's just me being very childish. But it is very good. I've read about 100 pages now. I think I only started this yesterday or the day before yesterday, and very intelligently done, very readable, a good balance of sort of analysis of the letter itself, but with also providing the biographical context. I'm about bracing myself for the cat about to jump in front of the camera and disrupt everything again. Please don't. Please move, thank you. Right, didn't disrupt too much. And some poetic analysis as well. And I haven't actually read Byron properly since university, and even there I didn't read too much, so I do need to revisit the poems and read a lot of the poems for the first time, which I'll do as soon as I can. So yeah, it's not a comprehensive biography. Of course, it's going to give a good overview of his whole life, which of course wasn't a very long life, but jam-packed with adventures. But a good introduction, and in the introduction to this volume, Andrew Stauffer, I think it's pronounced, or Stauffer, does recommend some of the best Byron biographies, one being Fiona McCarthy's biography in the early 2000s, one from the 50s, I can't remember the name of the author for that, but plenty of biographies Byron to go to after reading this. So it starts in Cambridge when he's at Trinity College, which is very nice, and then quickly moves on to his adventures around Europe, Greece and Turkey and Italy and Spain. A bit at Newstead Abbey as well, which is nice because it reminds me I actually visited Newstead Abbey on a university trip many years ago, and I remember towards the end of the day, a couple of friends and I were sort of wandering around the beautiful Japanese gardens there, just without a care in the world. And then we heard Professor Christopher Marlowe, so not that Christopher Marlowe, but Professor Christopher Marlowe, who's a leading critic on Elizabethan drama and expert on Doctor Who studies, and also my dissertation supervisor at the time, Professor Christopher Marlowe, rushing towards us saying, "Where the hell have you been? We've been waiting for you for 20 minutes to take this group photo." And we totally forgot that we meant to return to the main grounds to take this group photo and then get the coach home. So we were just sort of wandering around the Japanese gardens as if there was, there was no care in the world. A bit Byronic, perhaps you might say. perhaps not. So yeah, really enjoying this so far. Sort of like what I spoke about in the read smart tag I just did. When you find yourself in a reading slump, so maybe I was in a reading slump for non-fiction because I was only reading one book which I wasn't particularly enjoying, pick up something else, and that's exactly what I've done here. So I've picked up the momentum again, and I'm sure when I finish this I'll pick something else up entirely. But that's about it for now. I'll report back next week of my progress, and in the meantime, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you then.